Kaumudi. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Santanam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vachaline Nivasisha Sunya Vahari Pashtatada Satadini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. So we are coming to the end of the section on Vipalamma Bhava. We have just 2 pages left, and Maharaj is specifically analyzing, as we was reading last week as well, is the separation felt by the perfected devotees. So that's why the chapter is called The Perfection of Vipalamma Bhava, and the different lessons that we can learn from that and how we can be inspired. But specifically in this last couple of pages of this chapter, Maharaj is speaking about something that we've read about and I've mentioned quite a few times. It's called this phenomena called tat bhava, which means learning to feel separation by hearing about separation. Yeah? Not to imitate exactly, but by hearing about separation of the gopis, that can affect us, and it creates an impression in the mind, and that will help us in developing the mood of separation. Right? So we're looking at that. Today I just checked off where we left off. Yes, please.
Can I jump something to just a question? Are we allowed to, let's say if we have someone very dear to us, like mom, dad, I don't know, best friends, and we try to feel that sadness when they leave the separation, can we use that training us and then also in the same time remembering and trying to develop it and put Krishna in exchanging that person with Krishna? So we can remember that feeling.
Well, in one sense, every emotion that we experience here is a reflection, is a distant, perverted, or whatever you want to call it, is a reflection of original spiritual emotions. So you could say yes, but in another sense, best to hear about the residents of Vrindavan and the devotees of the Lord, which there's plenty of material there. But it can give you an indication, in one sense, you're feeling separation from someone who you had affection for, it can get some idea, but because it's material, then it's not going to develop your spiritual attraction specifically, it's like a temporary emotion. So really we want to go towards, we want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. For instance, in Bhagavatam in the morning in our class at the temple, we're reading about when Arjuna is relaying to Yudhisthira Krishna's departing from the world. And it's quite intense, Arjuna's feelings of intense separation. So really we want to go down, we want to be inspired by that, really. Although what you're saying is not wrong, but it's a reflection, it's kind of real pure feelings, So don't rely on that too much to develop your spiritual sentiments, But I get your point, So Marge is going to look at the last couple of pages, is Tat Bhava. And then for your interest, then we go into the last part of this book, chapters 37, 38, 39, and 40, which is all about kripa, grace. So 37 is the Sankalpas corresponding to grace. 38, the truths of grace, meaning mercy. Krishna's grace, how it descends through the Vaishnavas and attaining Krishna's grace. And Maharaj, I was reading through it just before we opened up today, and Maharaj really gets into some really details in these last sections, the actual very specific details on actually being able to attain bhava, which is what the whole book is about. The whole book that we've been reading is about how our Pacific sadhana can take us to the platform of bhava. So the last section, Maharaj is really getting into details of that. And yeah, getting into details of that. And it's very interesting. I was reading it just to get an idea of what we're gonna cover today, and I just kept on reading. I couldn't stop. It was so interesting, you know. So let's see if we get there today. We're going to finish off on chapter 36 for today. And I see we have Mother Chandravali, you're at base, so I guess you have the book. Kaumudi Priya, are you at base? If you like to read, you're quite welcome to. Or anyone else who has the book? Okay, perhaps I can start then. Have I forgot anything? We've pressed the record button. No, we're recording. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Which page?
All right, Hare Krishna. Oh yeah, that's what I forgot. Which page? 738.
Okay,
738. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I can begin. And actually, I can begin. I'll read a page or two. Actually, what I do is, let's see how it goes, because I like to have discussion and questions as well. So just read to the, okay. Okay, a devotee may be concerned that his body is still very much immersed in the modes of nature. However, if he is regularly absorbed, so Maharaj is speaking about this tat bhava, yeah. Yep. So we may feel hesitant because we're still very much conditioned souls, struggling with the modes of material nature. However, if he is regularly absorbed in spiritual practice, then both material intelligence and the impressions of past sense objects, anushraya, are burned up. Chakravarti Thakur says that eventually the Raganuga sadhaka meets Sham Krishna in the relationship that he contemplated. Right? That's the idea. Was in the more mature stages of Krishna consciousness, one is meditating on a particular relationship with Krishna. Yeah. In that relationship, that eventually the Raganuga sadhaka meets Krishna in a relationship that he contemplated. This was the case with the gopis. These are the gopis who were restricted from going to dance with Krishna. Yeah. And will be for those who follow their example through the process of oral reception. Prahlad Maharaj elaborates on how tat bhava frees the hearer of the effects of the modes and the pitfalls of material existence, pious and impious. And he quotes the verse. I'll just read the translation. Quote, the real problem of life is the repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling repeatedly up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, by the transcendental bliss realized from constant engagement in devotional service, one is completely liberated from material existence. All learned men know this. Therefore, my dear friends, O sons of the Ashuras, immediately begin meditating upon and worshipping the Supersoul within everyone's heart. Okay. Srila Prabhupada's unquote. Srila Prabhupada's translation in purple emphasizes that constant hearing and chanting, alambham. Yeah, what's his Vaisheshika says, keep the nectar flowing. So I think Doimora gave class and he mentioned there was with Vaisheshika doing paragrams. One of his Mahavakyas he's saying is, keep the nectar flowing, keep the hearing and chanting going on. You know? All right. Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that constant hearing and chanting of the Lord's pastimes. Okay, so we have the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, Also, the pastimes. It's very important that we spend time hearing about Krishna's pastimes. What to speak of directly attaining him, it destroys all material contamination. And if a devotee contemplates Krishna as his favored object of love, alambhana, then contact with the Lord, who is replete with all the mellows of bhakti, Hrit Ishvaram. Maharaj is referring to words, phrases from that verse we just read, destroys both auspicious and inauspicious attributes. Okay, destroys both auspicious. So I imagine that means any fruitive sattvika attachments that we have. Further study of the mechanism by which tat bhava liberates the sadhaka will be helpful in raising awareness of the importance of hearing topics concerning Vripalamba. Let us now briefly look at that mechanism. So, yeah, when the gopis were barred from meeting Krishna, the anguish they felt was so overwhelming that all inauspicious things within the world were extinguished. Yeah, that's a difference, Madhu Mongo. If you concentrate on the feelings of separation from your mother or relatives who passed away, then it's not going to extinguish your attachments to the material world. It may actually increase them. So it may increase your bodily concept of life, So perhaps you want to.
But what I mean, it's a person doesn't understand what means attachment or love, attachment to love, or attachment to Krishna. That's why I was wondering, just like, I know wherever you think will take you there.
Yeah. We can learn, we can hear. So similarly, when they felt Krishna's embrace, the bliss the gopis experienced was so intense that its effects shrank both the auspicious things and the sense pleasures of the world, including the bliss of liberation, into insignificance. Okay, so no desire for Tama Kinchana Gochara means completely exhausted. There's nothing on this planet for such devotees. Yeah, nothing. There's no emotion, there's no taste, there's no relationship on this planet that can satisfy them except Krishna. Yeah. That overwhelming anguish and that intense bliss continue to reverberate today in the words describing the gopis' feelings of separation. Or let's plug in my microphone. I don't know if you couldn't hear properly, perhaps not. Plug it in. Sometimes it helps. Okay. Shift a few things around. Excuse me. Okay. But more importantly, narration of the gopis, Ripalamba Leela, makes the creeper of his devotion blossom with fresh buds of conjugal attachment to the Prince of Raj. In short, those who read and hear of the gopis' affliction and bliss are freed of similar inebrities and blessed with similar attachment. This conclusion is confirmed in the following verse spoken by Narada to Vasudeva. Just read the translation quote. Pure devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord is spiritually so potent that simply by hearing about such transcendental service, so simply by hearing about the residents of Raj, the gopis, for example, by chanting its glories in response, by meditating on it, by respectfully and faithfully accepting it, or by praising the devotional service of others, even persons who hate the demigods and all other living beings, can be immediately purified. Hare Krishna. All right, last 2 pages of this chapter. That's will call on either Mother Chandravali or Mother Kaumudi. You like to read? Whoever starts reading first can read.
No, she can read. Kumari Priya, are you okay?
Hare Krishna, yeah, what page are you on? Sorry,
740, the top top of 740.
740, thank
Yeah, perhaps you just read through these last 2 pages
you. Okay.
of this chapter.
Mhm. We now conclude our summary of Krishna's kindness to those gopis who retained a hint of identification with the world. Other sadhana siddha gopis didn't face the same challenge in meeting with Krishna. They, like their nitya siddha counterparts, left home unobstructed and or unnoticed. In their previous lives, the sadhakas, they had attained an advanced stage of ecstasy where every trace of materiality was cleansed from their consciousness and bodies. Because of their purity, Yogamaya arranged for them to meet the eternally liberated gopis, and by hearing from Krishna's associates, they developed Purva Raga. As a result, they found no obstacle to fulfilling a meeting with Krishna when they heard his flute song.
So I think we just I think we asked this last week, but we'll ask it again. Seem to remember bringing it up. What does Purvarag mean? Yeah, I remember. Then I gave an example. I mentioned someone's name, and we got.
Does it mean like Rukmini?
Yep. You remember last week?
Separation.
Yeah. So it's feeling attachment and separation from Krishna,
Separation of
even before meeting him. So by hearing about him, then these gopis developed attraction and attachment to him, and thus qualified themselves to actually gain his association. So that's called Purvarag, just hearing about Krishna. So that's we mentioned before, that's very relevant to us, lost in the chasms of this dark material world. You know, we hear about Krishna, we develop attraction for him. Sorry, Mavi, you can continue.
Thank you. Yet both groups of gopis finally attained Krishna's company, and night after night they relished pastimes of love in fully spiritual bodies, but they not only fit for Krishna, but of no interest to family members. To mature love, Yogamaya would continue to make the sadhana siddhas taste separation after separation, first during the day when they stayed at home as Krishna tended the cows, then sometime later when he left Vrindavan for Mathura, and finally in the many years when he was in faraway Dwaraka. When the gopis had given up all hope that Krishna would return, they continued to drink through the chalice of Vipralamba, an intoxicated blend of poison and nectar, which they would share with Krishna through letters like this.
Just read the translation, Mother, for this quote.
Okay. O Hari, why is it with the soothing moonlight and the gentle breezes caressing the glistening shore of a Yamuna cannot cool the intolerable pain scorching our hearts? When Krishna had
Sorry, continue.
When Krishna heard those words from a messenger, he began to sigh uncontrollably. Seeing his distraught condition, his queen's possessive pride evaporated in a way that morning mist dissipates with a sun's appearance. When a practicing devotee reads such verses, he too is blessed with the wonders of service and separation. How those blessings transform a devotee's bhajana into blossoming desire tree, yielding the fruits of love, is difficult to express in words and can only be experienced. The words below of a Vaishnava poet describe what hearing about pastimes of separation is a guardian of a sincere sadhaka. May those pages describing Bhava Seva in its maturity of Vipralamba be of some small help in guarding the pure devotion of a reader, Sri Nila wrote. Once traveler passed through Raj on his way to Dwaraka. Taking advantage of this messenger, the gopis composed a letter to Krishna, which he then opened with trembling hands and said, O debauch of Dwaraka, why do Govardhan's caves, the Yamuna shores, your favorite tree named Bandira, the Kadamba tree by Kalia Lake, your friends like Subala or Raja village never enter your heart even to be criticized? When Krishna read those words, they entered his heart like a javelin, causing him unbearable pain. May that javelin enter your hearts and protect you all. May the inconceivable pastimes of Krishna's Vipralambhav bless and protect this author and his readers.
That's us. We're the readers. Hare Krishna. May the javelin, nice, may the javelin, may when Krishna read these words, yeah, may that javelin enter our hearts and protect us all. Yeah. Those feeling the distress of the Rajrasis, it was like a javelin. You know, everyone knows what a javelin is. You know, you throw it. It's a pointed stick, like a sword. Yeah, cause Krishna great, unbearable, transcendental pain. May that same javelin enter our hearts and protect us all. So that finishes the whole section on it's actually called Bhava Seva. So just for your interest, the whole book is about these specific subjects. As we're coming to the end now, Maharaj is going to be summarizing. So I'll also be doing that as well. So here, yeah, he mentions, this book we've been describing about, or hearing about the subject of Sankalpa, making determined efforts to achieve ecstatic love for Krishna. Yeah. Also, eka grata, which means the importance of being attentive. And actually, what I'm going to be doing, if it's of interest, devotees, I'm pulling out sections of this book and this study. One of them is about attentive and inattentive bhajan. And I'm doing like an online class on it. I'm just waiting for the poster to come. So if you're inspired, you can listen in. So Sankalpas 1, okay, so making determined efforts. Ekagrata, being focused on sadhana. Yeah. And bhava seva, that was the last section, is the mood by which we execute our devotion. And that mood is the mood of Vipralambha. So that's what the last few chapters have been describing, that bhava seva. And the last chapters is going to describe kripa. All right. And I'll turn the page, and there it is, part 8, Sankalpa for divine grace. All right. So everyone's got some idea where we've been and in this reading and where we're going now. Important, kripa. Kripa Moya. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Comments? If not, I'll call on Mother Chandravali to read.
So what you're going to do is, like, from the beginning of the book, you're going to take us like sections of what
No, not exactly. I'm just taking sections because I've done my own little studies, studies as well, and put them in slides. And in class the other day, on Sunday, someone asked a question: how can we be attentive to our rounds? And I remembered I've got a whole presentation on attentive and inattentive bhajan based on this book, with slides and pictures and notes. And so I dug it out the other day, and I thought, all right, let me, I've done all that work. Why don't I try and present it for devotees for my purification and devotees? So it's going to be a standalone couple of classes. It's not going to be about the whole Sankalpa Kaumudi. It's just about being attentive and the dangers of being inattentive. Right. So look out for that. We'll send a little poster out. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So, yeah, interesting. We started today's conversation about the effects of today's social media of making us inattentive. So it's funny. I was just preparing something on the presentation in that light to make us attentive. Anyway, so chapter 37.
I was
Sorry?
quite thinking, you know, when you lot were talking about you could spend so much time on social media, I was
Yeah.
like, my mind's thinking, what can you do? I mean, what can you be looking for? To me,
Oh, there's, yeah, believe it or not.
because I don't understand.
Nothing. You don't look to nothing. You just waste your time. That's the secret.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
I
Because
think-
the reward is so quick. When you see an image, your mind will get instant rewards, even for nothingness. So then you realize that it's just a game of images. But that time you could use it just to read and chant. Amazing would be, but
Yeah, basically it's just, I mean, there is devotional content there, but that sometimes can be the danger that you're looking for devotional content and then something else shows its face and you get tempted to look at that, which seems to be related. And one thing leads to another and you just waste time.
But why don't we, I mean, it's just me thinking, we have image in our mind, okay, now I'm going to listen to a class, and then you go YouTube and then classes come up and you just click on
Yeah.
what you'd like to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do, but yeah. Like today, the last 2 days, I've been listening to a nice class by my Guru Maharaj. It's all there. So we can make good use of it,
Mhm.
of social media, but we should be careful that it doesn't start to erode. Yeah, that it doesn't, that we do not become distracted. You know, we want to stay focused.
Okay.
All right. So staying focused, speaking on that
Stay focused.
subject, let's move into chapter 37, 37, 38, 39, 40. And then we, okay, so Mother Chandravali, you can take it away. Chapter
Okay.
37, and where any questions come up, and I've read this first part, so I kind of got some idea what's coming, so I can help for us to understand. The first 2 or 3 pages is just an introduction, but go on, go ahead.
Okay, chapter 37, the Sankalpas corresponding to grace. The many determinations that guide a practitioner through the stages of sadhana bhakti have the attainment of bhava as their raison d'etre.
Raison d'etre, I think that means ultimate, as far as I can
Okay,
make out.
okay. To me, it looks like French.
Well, it is French.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems like your reason for existing.
What
Say
was it?
again?
I think it means like your reason for existing.
Yeah, your reason for existing. So
Wow, it's the reason.
so that's that should be our reason for, because yeah, thank you, Mother Lavanga. Yeah, reason. So our reason to exist is to obtain bhava, is to obtain love for Krishna. Yeah.
The motto of ISKCON, back to Godhead, can be realized only by loving devotion, of which ecstasy is the dawning.
So ecstasy means bhava, okay?
Bhav is dawning. Okay. This state of transcendence is generally understood to be the limit of attainment made possible by the material body. Yet Chakravarti Thakur seems to indicate that the upper limit of attainment may be the first stage of prema, and it is the further development of love from sneha to mahabhav that requires a spiritual body like that of the sadhana siddha gopis mentioned in the previous chapter.
All right, we clear on what that means. That means in this life, we're not going to obtain full-blown prema. Well, if we're blessed to obtain anything. The highest, what we can obtain is a bhava, which is like a ray of prema, which is prema, but it's just like a ray of prema. And because you need a spiritual body to develop the different levels of prema. And that can be done in the association of the perfected devotees. Yeah. So that's what Marge is describing here. Yeah. Like, yeah, the dawning of prema, which is bhava. Yeah. This is love for Krishna, but it's a dawning of it. It's a dawning of full-blown prema. Then it's further developed. And it requires a spiritual body. Yeah.
So
All right.
is that when, when we spend time where Krishna's Leela is going on, is that where you would develop this?
Yeah, you develop these higher sentiments because you will be associating with those who have deep, full-blown prema for the divine couple. Okay. We hope, we pray. Yeah, so then you'll develop
That's when you
your
develop.
specific relationship with Krishna under their guidance. Yeah. And learn how to speak to, learn how to serve the divine couple, depending on your specific relationship. Yeah. Just like now when we train pujaris up. Kind of not exactly the same, but yeah, we train, someone who wants to dress Radha Krishna, then they have to get trained up by someone who knows how to do it. So like that. But there it's more, it is skills, making garlands, etc. But more important is the mood, which it's all done with. That's the more focused of development in the higher stages of bhakti. Yeah. At the same time, you have to learn the practical skills of how to make all types of earrings, and depends on your relationship with Krishna, etc. All types of decorations and like that. Anyway, we're going off the track. Quick. Keep reading.
And inevitable question.
Inevitable, yeah. Question.
Prabhu,
Yes.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna, I can hear you clearly. Go ahead.
Now she's disappeared.
Okay, carry on, Mother Chandravali.
An inevitable question to arise in a book dedicated to the steps leading to
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was thinking
Hare Krishna.
when you said about the mood.
Yeah.
Huh?
She's having such bad time with internet.
Okay, go on, continue.
Okay. What is the final?
Oh, God. It's difficult to hear you, Mother.
Can you hear me?
On and off. You stop, you
No,
say
is
a
it
few
okay now?
words. Now it is quick. She's gone again.
Okay, you've gone again.
Nitai Mata, why don't you write your question?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, we
What
can't
is
hear
the
you, and it's interrupting the reading. Better you just write the question in the chat.
No, I muted. That's why. I
Oh,
was
okay.
mute and talking.
Okay, go on then. Go ahead. Did you have a question?
Okay. Okay.
Did you have a question?
I think she just heard about you writing it down now. I think there's a big delay.
Okay, I'm going to read and then we'll come back to her.
Okay. Great.
What is the final Sankalpa required to facilitate a sadhaka's elevation to bhava? The following chapters reveal that the effort to attain bhava is not sufficient in itself. Can I read that again? The following chapters reveal that the effort to attain bhava is not sufficient in itself. Okay.
All right. I think we know what's coming. Go on.
Determination in nama-bhajana must be accompanied by Krishna's grace. Thus, the closing sankalpa of sadhana is that which invokes the mercy of the Lord. So the answer is short. Then is the final determination is not the sadhaka's, it is Krishna's.
It is Krishna's, yeah.
Yes.
So Maharaj sometimes speaks of it like you get to the top of the glass ceiling. You can only go so far. You can only go so far. Then you're dependent upon grace of coming down. Yeah, we can through a particular application of sincere sadhana, we can get to a certain level. But to break through, then we need grace. And that's what these last chapters are about. Yeah.
So it's determination, effort and mercy.
Yeah, like, we have the two fingers
Hmm.
of Damodar. Everyone knows that pastime and the significance of that. You could say it's about that,
Mm-hmm. But then the effort that you trying to make is also Krishna's mercy. You can't make effort unless Krishna gives you that understanding. Okay, do this.
Yeah, I mean, without Krishna's grace, we cannot breathe, we cannot walk, we cannot talk,
Yeah.
we cannot do anything. But according to the faculties that we have, then we can choose to use it rightly or wrongly. So if we really sincerely use all our faculties for hearing and chanting, etc., buddhi yoga, and use our intelligence, yeah, that's all by Krishna's grace, because by Krishna's grace, then we get the body. Yeah, by Krishna's grace, then he gives us intelligence. But primarily, it's us making the effort by which Krishna reciprocates. And we're using our particular body, mind that we have. Yeah. So you can, in that way, you can elevate yourself to a certain level, but you only can get to a certain point. And then you need Krishna's grace and mercy. Yeah. Yeah, everything's Krishna's grace. Even to do what we're doing now, reading like that is Krishna's grace. So, but by using the faculties according to what we've got, according to our karma, yeah, Krishna's enabling that. But we can only get to a certain point. And we need mercy. We need kripa. So in the chat here.
So
It's just wrote, I was remembering the devotee mentioned in morning class, which I explained the importance of the mood. Srila Prabhupada has to come and explain to the devotee that he did all services not in the mood of a servant. That's why he was to go to Vaikuntha and not go local. Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Nitai Mata. In the mood of, not in the mood of a servant, but just in the mood of, I guess, doing what has to be done. Anyway, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, Mother Chandravali?
I was thinking, so the Krishna's mercy would come. Say you are in any situation, any decisions you make, the mercy will depend on what kind of decisions you make, right? Say like you got half an hour. Do you want to sit down, chat with a friend? Do you want to watch TV? Or shall I read the Srimad Bhagavatam? So the choice is there. And then the decision you make, Krishna's mercy will come accordingly. Is that right?
Yeah, but that's going on for everyone on the planet. Krishna said even Krishna's given intelligence for someone to make the house safe, to keep burglars out. And Krishna's also given intelligence to a burglar how to break into the house.
Yes.
Prabhupada said he was laughing. So in this way, Krishna's very busy. Yeah, this is all going on, but we're speaking about something extraordinary here. Over and above the basic reciprocation that's coming from the super soul.
Right.
The basic, which is there for everyone. No, there's the extraordinary mercy to actually enter into bhava. Yeah. And Krishna's intervention, powerful intervention is needed. And we don't need that powerful intervention now. We're going on, in one sense it is, but to actually get to bhava, there's something extraordinary mercy beyond what we're getting on this platform of practice. Yeah.
Okay.
Things will become more, as we read, it
Right.
become more explained very nicely. Yeah.
Okay. Divine intervention alone gives the practitioner entrance into the kingdom of love, into Krishna's own heart. But Sukdev Goswami warns that muktim dadati karchit
Mana bhakti
bhakti yogam. Krishna easily awards practitioners liberation, but he does not so readily share the treasure of direct service unto him. Of course, practicing devotees are no strangers to Krishna's mercy. Devotional service and the aspects of practice, like chanting, are made of and are available by the Lord's grace. However,
this is what we've just been explaining. Yeah.
yes.
Exactly. Yes. Well, I'm just speaking of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
However, the quality of mercy varies with service and attainment, and the standard of mercy that a sadhaka's eyes in his attempt to reach bhava is for him without precedent.
It means it hasn't happened. He hasn't had that level of grace before.
Yes.
It's without precedent. So a particular type of grace is needed. But for a devotee.
Yeah, I was going anyway.
Oh,
but for a devotee who has strived hard and long through years of sadhana, it is a must. After all, Krishna has repeatedly encouraged us.
Yes.
Always think of me because, that.
Yeah, manmana bhavat mat bhakto majiti mam namaskuru mam ivashashi satyam te pito jane priyosime. Yes.
Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. Krishna has promised us bhava, but he has also made conditions like manmana, which indicates spontaneous attachment to him. His mercy has a price. In the, can you hear them singing? Shall I?
Not a little bit. So spontaneous. So when it says always think of me, that's not, that's spontaneous attachment, because you can't always think of Krishna unless you do have some spontaneous attachment.
Yeah.
You know.
I just closed the door because they just...
Yeah, go ahead. I'll just... Go on.
Okay, Krishna has promised us bhava, but he has also made conditions like manmana, which indicates spontaneous attachment to him. His mercy has a price. In the many chapters preceding this, we have described the sadhana of true Gaudias, systematic meditation in Nam Sankirtan, braided with feelings of separation, is the means by which devotees pass through the increasingly elusive stages of devotion from Nishtha to advanced Ashakti.
Yeah.
The eminence of Bhava Bhakti is the regal crown won by universal controllers like Brahma and Shiva. This book is dedicated to the study of sadhana and the attainment of bhava. It does not further examine the cultivation of bhava to prema and beyond. However, to understand what it means to accomplish the transition to bhava, we should review certain features of bhava bhakti, beginning with its definition.
All right, so Marjorie's going to give, he's just going to give a summary now of something that we've covered before. Yeah. So, Yeah, so you give a basic outline of the progressive stages to what's called apana, which means attainment, which means going back to the spiritual world. So stay tuned.
When
I've only got
devotional
5 minutes.
service is executed
So,
on the
yeah,
trans-
just quoting a verse now. So quoting a verse, which this is the definition of bhava from the Bhakti Rasmrita Sindhu. And Mother Chandra is going to quote the translation to that verse.
when devotional service is executed on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a sun ray of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and one is then situated in bhava emotion.
Unquote. So that's the verse. Yeah.
This verse describes bhava as a beam of prema, the former being the smallest constituent part of the later, in the way that a single ray of sunshine is an irreducible particle of the sun. Bhav also goes by the name of Rati and is the bud of the permanent feature of love known as Sthai Bhav.
So stay above means situate means stay above, like the stay above of Madhya Soda is Vatsalya. The stay above of Shidam is what's the word for friendship is stay above of friendship is what's the Sanskrit name?
Sorry, I am.
Sakiras.
That's Sakya.
Yeah, Sakiras. So it's called Stahibhav, and the Stahibhav of the group is Mat. Okay?
Surya.
Permanent ecstasy.
Sakya.
Yeah. Carry on.
Ecstasy indicates one of the 5 mellows of devotional service, which blossoms in fullness with the rising of the prema sun. A bhav bhakta attains the first transcendental insight into the mood of devotion for which he so hankered at practice.
So he gets an insight, yeah? He gets an insight into his
What he's been practicing.
Stahibhav, yeah. And that comes up bhava. Yeah.
Okay.
It may not be fully blown or fully, the details at that stage may not be fully known, but the specific, very definite attraction in a specific way to Krishna becomes known. Yeah.
The phrase Suddha Sattva Vishesha
Krishna.
refers to the enchanting combination of 2 features of Krishna's internal potency, knowledge, samvit, and pleasure, ladini. This combination generates an intense desire to please Krishna, a desire that is the eternal characteristic of the Lord's associates. In other words, the Bhava Bhakta is naturally inclined to love and serve Krishna, indicating a maturing in spontaneous devotion. Combined with the softening of the heart, these conditions make a devotee very eager to meet the Lord, and they also invoke transitory ecstasies called sanchari bhavas.
Yeah.
These transitory ecstasies are modest in intensity and meager in number, but they are encounters with the divine nonetheless.
Yeah, so transitory as opposed to stahibhav, that means the different pastimes of Krishna, according to the particular pastime that's happening in a particular mood or the particular relationship with Krishna, there's different spikes of different emotions and affection for Krishna, which are manifest. Sometimes do you remember we read through them in the Nectar of Devotion? Shock and horror is some of them, so they're transitory.
Justice.
comes in the normal course of the pastimes of Krishna, like Mother Yasoda when Krishna is wrapped in the coils of Kaliya. She experiences great horror, great shock and horror. So that's a sanchari bhav. And when they get more intense, there's another word for it, sanchari bhav. Then they get more intense. Then there's another. They go into another stage of bhavas. It's quite detailed. Yeah. What to do from this point? Because we started a bit late because we was having a bit of a talk about social media and its negative effects. So for this evening, I want to just finish this introduction to this section. So I just take over reading from here on the last page, because there's a few little points to point out. Yeah. Please, anyone has any questions, or please feel free to ask. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lists 3 of these symptoms as sought after by the Bhava Bhaktas. Then he quotes, yep, this is from the Shishashtakam. Nayanam galat ashuddharya vadanam gat gat rudaya gila ulakki nititam babu hava ganama bhavishyate. My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears? 1. That constantly lie down as I chant your holy name. When will my voice falter? 2. And all the hairs on my body stand erect, 3. And the transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name. Yeah. Unquote. At Bhava, spiritualization becomes unique. A sadhaka's senses are spiritually empowered, emancipated from the influence of the modes of nature, means free. They seek out the sight, sound, and taste of Krishna's form, his flute, and lips. Yet that would depend on their relationship with Krishna, but yet due to his spiritual infancy, so it's not prema, it's araya prema, a devotee has limited ability to perceive the objects of his desire, Krishna's form, etc. He generally cries for that fulfillment, because it's like he's been tantalized by it. He's been shown it, but he can't, it's not for him at will to have. It's just been shown. So he's left hankering for it, So he cries. That's when the devotee cries for the fulfillment. Yeah. He generally cries for its fulfillment and attains it on occasion only to lose it again. Yeah. Krishna reveals it. So he opens the box, then he closes the box. So that intensifies more the devotee's mood.
This is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feels like that. Oh, Krishna is there, and he goes to, and Krishna is not there.
No, but that's the full-blown. That's full-blown prema. It's such, you can imagine, like these emotions, what we're discussing here is just the raya prema, it's bhava. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu couldn't sustain his body and would faint, because all these sanchari bhavas, all these different bhavas would be fighting for prominence within the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would just faint away in great ecstasy, unable, then devotees would have to chant the holy name to bring him around again. You can read about that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. So that's full-blown prema. Yeah, a bit different. Okay. Whether separated from or united with Radha or Krishna, the sadhaka tastes an intense sweetness that pervades his days and nights. Right? His consciousness absorbed more in his siddha deha than in his external body. Yeah. So he's gone. He's no longer relating so much to the body, to this world. Yeah. Followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will have the son of Mother Yasoda as the object of their love, and spontaneous loving devotion as the character of their Stahi Bhav, while both Raganuga and Vaidhi practitioners will attain a mature stage of spontaneity the attraction of the former, the Raganuga sadhakas, will be somewhat richer and more forceful than that of the latter. But with the development of bhava, both the Raganuga sadhaka and the Vaidhi practitioners, the two will eventually gain clarity. All right. You got that? So someone who practices Vaidhi very strictly and very sincerely, they will also come to bhava. Yeah. Then you got the Raganuga sadhaka, whose main focus and inspiration is the resonance of Raj. Yeah, they will follow that path. Then you got those who follow Vaidhi, having Krishna as the goal. They're following Vaidhi very strictly, very sincerely, and they get purified, and they will come to bhava. They will come to bhava as well, and the two will have the same thing in common. Yeah. Fortunate is that rare soul in whom ecstatic devotion has awakened, in a way that he was attracted to the material energy as a conditioned soul. He is now attracted to Krishna as a liberated soul. Uninformed outsiders will see this conduct as brainwashing or contrived. Yeah, you think he's a madman, he's lost it. But his natural state is to be attracted to Krishna in a way that iron filings are naturally attracted by a magnet. Then Maharaj quotes a verse from Prahlad Maharaj, which exemplifies this. Because his teachers inquired as to who had spoiled his intelligence with devotional teachings. Yeah, so the young boy humbly said, it's a nice verse this. O Brahmanas, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically towards a magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by our Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus I have no independence. So Prahlad Maharaj is not just preaching here. It's not as if he is using clever words just to give reason for his chanting Hare Krishna. He can't. He can't stop it. Even if he tried to, he couldn't. He can't. He's magnetic. He means it. I can't. Haridas Thakur was the same, wasn't it? He was said, we're going to chop you. You can chop my body into 100 pieces, but I can't. My tongue can't stop chanting. Yeah. They can't do it. Such is the exquisite nature of bhava bhakti. Okay, Hari Om Tat Sat. All right. So that's an introduction to these last 4 chapters. And next week we'll get into it, more details. Yeah. How to attain bhava. Hare Krishna. All right. Interesting. Nice thing to read on the evening. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining us. And tomorrow we come back down to earth with the Bhagavad Gita. So please join us for a Bhagavad Gita reading if you can and if you have time. Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhu ki
Hare
jai.
everyone ki jai.
Hare Bol.
Anchakar patarubhyasya kripa sindhaya vacha patitanam pavane vyo vaishnave.